All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. It is week 4. Yeah.
One month down.
I know. Can you believe that it's 1 month down?
No, it's gone by really fast.
I know. Technically, it's been 5 weeks because, we had setup week and then week 1 started, right after that.
This is actually like my favorite week because, I like the lessons, but I like the progress updates for my ladies because it's exactly a month from the last time you weighed and not 2 weeks, like in the middle of your cycle. And
right. Yeah.
I feel like that throws numbers off.
Right. Well, what she was saying, lady, if you didn't catch that, is that we typically like for women to measure like after their cycle, like after their menstrual cycle, so once a month, because that I always say like you get through that and it's going to be your best week is the week after. And most consistent with weight because you're going to fluctuate throughout your month just because of hormones, like every 2 weeks. So it's best to weigh at the same time during your cycle every time, and usually that week after you've had the Mother Nature come visit. Anyway, on to the topic of week 4. So week 4 was all about planning for the unexpected. You got a lesson of that on Sunday, I do believe, and we talk about that because, really, that's what the challenge is. You're planning for how to do this lifestyle. How to do life, but how to make healthy decisions when life happens.
Yes.
Because I don't care who you are or what you do or how disciplined you are always going to have some kind of crazy pop up and it's going to be a kink in your plan. You're never going to have a perfect day. Or, on the other flip side, like you could go on vacation, like I just did. Went to Disney and Universal, and I posted a lot of my choices. Of course, every situation wasn't like the perfect situation, but you just do the best with what you can. And the habits become so ingrained that it's not like that hard to make those choices in those type of situations. But this week is all about planning. So you have plan A, your perfect day. And then you have plan B, which could be, a little hiccup here and there. But then we want to plan for C, D,
yes.
E. You never know. And so we were asking you guys, of course you have to make your 3-day meal plan. But then this week was create an emergency meal. So like a freezer meal. And we've had a couple of questions about the Clean Kitchen recipes. Like if you can freeze, which ones you can freeze. And a frozen.
They all freeze pretty. I think some of the spaghetti squash is not my favorite frozen, but everything else, the soups, the lasagnas, freeze really well.
Yeah, and a lot of and freezer meals. So we asked you to create or cook or prep something, an emergency meal. You couldn't eat it this week. You had to freeze it, like cook it or prep it, however you want. Like some people like to cook it before. And we showed you instructions on how to cool it down properly. Do not put anything hot in the freezer. That will create bad crystals and lower the temperature of your freezer, which would not be good for the other foods in there. But you had to create or freeze something that you're going to use at a later date whenever things hit the fan. So a lot of times what I'll do, and we've mentioned this in the past, is like if I'm going to freeze something, it's either the soups. Like I would cook a double batch.
Yeah, I always make a double
batch. Soup. Yeah, and then put half of it in the fridge to eat on for that week, and then the other half cool it down before you put it in the freezer. You like to put ice in a.
Matt taught me that trick whenever I was making Clean Kitchen meals.
When we used to meal prep.
I wish we could do that.
Yeah.
Still.
But to cool down soups really fast, put some ice in the sink, put the pot in the sink, and let that cool the soup down before you put it in the freezer. That's always a good trick, so you don't have to cook twice. Then another thing is I've mentioned before that I like to do the turkey burgers or the salmon cakes. I'll cook those first and then individually wrap them. Because when you pull them out,
that's such a good idea too.
Like when you pull them out, like so say you want to use it for lunch, you could probably like pull it out the night before, or even that morning before if you're eating a later lunch or later in the afternoon. And it may be frozen just a little bit in the center.
But the microwave would
Take care of that. Yeah.
Don't throw them all in a bag. I've done that before, and then they all stick together, and
Yeah.
it wasn't very good.
I've even individually wrapped the lasagna, like any of the
That's a good
casseroles.
idea.
Cool it down where it's not liquidy or anything like that, and I'll cut it up into the single serving. I either put it in one of the freezer Tupperware things or individually wrap them in like saran wrap or something and, bundle them up. That way, whenever you take them out, again, they're not stuck all together and you can use them as you go. So that's one of the tips. Another thing to do about planning for the unexpected is for eating out. Okay, this is a big thing, like that people don't necessarily plan too much for. I would say like we have now our rotation of places that we like. What's your favorite fast go-to one?
Salad Station.
For sure.
It's my favorite. But Dickie's
Oh yes.
is a good one. I've taken that to like church potluck so that I can have something like plenty of good protein to eat. And Qdoba is good too.
Yeah. So we have a few suggestions that we put inside the app, but then also things that we share on social media. So she mentioned Salad Station. The one thing I love about Salad Station, and I've used this a lot, is like we do like meal prep there, where you can go in and prep different bowls. Like for example, on Mondays, I notoriously don't have anything to eat. So I'll go in there and I'll get my lunch. So that's one bowl that I'll make. And then I'll even make 2 more just in case I don't end up cooking anything like that night or have a snack. Like
and they have the hot bar too. So
Yeah.
we talked about just going in and getting potatoes.
Right.
It's in your meal for now, and then
Yeah.
let's say I'll go ahead and get some potatoes for everybody else to eat tonight, or sweet potatoes.
Right. And then, so I've done the sweet potatoes and made the CK Sloppy Joes for dinner.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because I didn't have time not that I didn't have time, I probably just didn't want to take the time to cook sweet potatoes and roast them in the oven. So I just ran by Salad Station, picked up some sweet potatoes for dinner, and then cooked the Sloppy Joe mixture, and then done. That's a good way.
Easy.
Yeah, super easy. So we asked you to pick 2 restaurants. One was fast and one was kind of like sit down type of thing. If you were to go on a nicer dinner. But for the most part, it's just like basically going through the restaurants in your city or in your town. We're in Hattiesburg. And so of course we have, certain ones that we know we can get certain things. But really it's just, fill in the habit. So can you get a protein that's not covered in a sauce and fried? And then what plants could you add to it? Like Panda Express is one that you can do, like the chicken teriyaki.
Oh, that's my favorite too.
It's chicken teriyaki with no sauce, and then
The
you get
super green side.
Yeah, and you can get the steamed veggies, and then they even have brown rice in there too if you wanted to, and they don't have a ton of like oil and stuff on the vegetables or even on the rice. So you could get that. The other one she mentioned was Qdoba. Here in Hattiesburg, people do the Coach Jamie salad. And a funny story on that one was that, like, even before there was Clean Kitchen social media, I would post going to Qdoba almost like weekly. And I would make my own salad, combination, because that's what I would do. And so then I posted it one time and people started coming in and saying, I want what Coach Jamie had, and they would show them the Instagram thing, and then they did the board. And so now it's like a thing, which I think is pretty cool. Because now you can go in and...
That's what I say. I'll have the Coach Jamie salad.
And when I order, I never tell them who I am, because I just think that's really weird. It would just be like, hey. No. So you can even, you can think about also ordering bulk meat. So she mentioned Dickie's. Like Dickie's Barbecue or Strix or wherever you're at, you could buy proteins cooked by the pound and then add some vegetable sides to that, or, whatever they have at the place. I mean, usually whenever I'm looking for ordering at restaurants, I'm trying to pay attention more to like the fats that are added, as opposed to, you know, thinking about, you know, other things.
When you're talking about nicer restaurants, I feel like the more upscale you go, the more willing they're to do whatever.
Right.
Even Disney World, willing
sure.
to do whatever, and you have to just ask. Like,
Yeah.
if yours is served with mashed potatoes and you see that there's broccoli on the menu, you do not have to get the mashed potatoes and just say, "Oh, I won't eat them," because they're going to be delicious and you're going to eat them. So if you just go ahead and say, "Can I have 2 sides of broccoli, or can I have this?"
Yeah.
I've never been somewhere where they've said no.
Right.
Sometimes I've been, "Well, that'll be $2 more," and I'm like, "Okay,
I'll
that's
pay
fine.
the extra.
I'm willing to pay."
Yeah. Like when I went to, like, that's what I did whenever I was at Universal and Disney the whole time. It was like, I just looked at what the sides were, and I would pick a dish, you know, like whether it was, like actually the first night we were there, we ate at the Boathouse, I think it was, in Disney Springs. That was awesome. It was like salmon, just grilled cedar plate salmon. It wasn't like buttered or anything like that. And then I even asked, I was like, if there's like a butter sauce, just put it on the side. I didn't even tell them to like take it away. I just said, just put it on the side. Cause they'll most of the time they'll put sauces on the side. So if you are unsure about something that is on the vegetables or the fish or your, whatever your dish is, just say, put whatever sauce is on the side, and then you can decide later, as opposed to like trying to ask 1,000 questions. If you feel uncomfortable, you know, like holding up dinner orders or something like that. But, you know, like she said, it doesn't hurt to ask. And of course, I always sub the, you know, heavier carb sources for more vegetables, because like I said, you want to be aware of what usually restaurants do go heavier on the fat uses, like so oils and butters. So knowing that in mind, I just typically do go for the lesser starch choices, just because you never know how they're going to really cook stuff unless you specifically say, don't cook it in butter or whatever it is. You know, that's just my personal rule of thumb that I do, you know. So we went over a bunch of stuff about, you know, winging it at restaurants, and then also, you know, cooking like your emergency meal is a huge lifesaver. But then the last thing we're going to talk about is the quick fix meals. I think that's a lesson that you're going to get a little bit later, and maybe on Thursday that you're going to get that lesson. But so it's kind of like, what is one of your go-to, like just no matter what, if you don't have anything else, you're going to have this meal.
We know what yours is.
Yes.
It's
My
an
omelet.
And breakfast for dinner is great for the whole family too, because my kids really never say, "Ooh, I don't like that." I mean, that's something that they enjoy. But mine lately has been a hot salad. Like, I prep my ground beef every week, but I buy the sweet kale salad from Sam's and the arugula, but I haven't been wanting to eat cold food and salad, so I put the arugula and the sweet kale in there. Then I put the ground beef that I cooked with onions. Then I put J olive on it and some goat cheese, and I put it in the microwave for like a minute, and it all wilts and it's hot. And it's really good. I've been eating it every day.
It's like a slaw.
I don't know. It's a hot salad. Like you would make it just like you would eat the salad.
Like I'm just imagining, like kind of like an egg roll bowl or something, but a sweet
it's
like
good.
version of it.
It's really good.
I'm gonna have to try that. Yeah,
hot salad.
Stephanie, you would love that. Coach
I
Stephanie.
thought about her whenever I was making it. I was like, Steph would like this.
That's another thing. Like with quick fix meals, of course, like it's easier if you are one that likes to eat raw vegetables or raw fruits. But if you're not one, you know, coming up with something like that is a quick way to, you know, do it. Because not everybody's gonna like steamed vegetables or something like that. I'm gonna need a little bit of flavor.
No, like
you know?
the J olive helped it, and I added that little bit of goat cheese, and it melted, and it was all creamy and good and warm. And
I'm gonna try that this week. All right, so
I need to post about that.
Yeah, the kale mix salad.
Like a handful of that, and then like 2 handfuls of arugula, and then just the cold ground beef that I'd cooked bulk. and a few little crumbles of goat cheese, and I heat it for like a minute and 30 seconds with the olive oil and balsamic on it.
I'm gonna try that. Well, mine is either my quick fix meal is either tacos or my omelet.
Oh, I forgot about
Hands down.
tacos. We have tacos every Tuesday, like every single Tuesday ever.
Yeah.
Of life. I always have the stuff to make that.
Yeah. And so when you're thinking of the quick fix meals, one of our tips was like think of quick cooking proteins. It always comes back to the protein prep. Like how can you fast have that quickly assembled? And so eggs and fish or any kind of seafood, those always cook really fast. Now I keep frozen fish and frozen shrimp in my freezer at all times. And I learned a little trick from Melanie Roberson of Mel's Healthy Meals on Instagram, how to defrost my shrimp really fast, like put it on low, the frozen shrimp in the pot, like, or in the skillet, put it on low, like the lowest it can go, and it just kind of melts the ice, kind of defrost it without cooking the shrimp.
Too much.
Then I'll drain it and then, clean the pan out, and then it's ready to cook. And so you can like saute shrimp in a matter of a couple of minutes. Same thing with fish. Like my fish, I have them individually wrapped. I'll put them in water in the wrapper. It defrosts in literally like probably 20 minutes or so.
Quick.
And then you can either roast those, like bake them in the oven, or even just pan sear them, and they're done in like a couple of minutes. So eggs and seafood are always my go-tos with that too.
Like for
or
my
ground beef.
family too, like burgers come out really fast. Like if I need to do like a quick family meal and I have some ground beef, like burgers.
Yeah. So that's some good ideas, guys, there. If you need any other ideas for the quick fix meals or the emergency meals, like we said, for the emergency meals, it could be any recipe that you could freeze and just have on hand. But think about freezing things individually so they're quick grab and goes and they don't take as long to defrost. But then also gives you multiple times to have emergency meals type of things. Soups work great. And then also don't forget to, figure out what restaurants you want to eat at and fill your habits at. So just remember, it's all about reading the menu, ask the questions, and, try to, or you can ask for certain, things off your meal, like sauces on the side, don't eat anything fried. And of course, ask the waiter questions because sometimes you just never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
But that's gonna wrap it up for today. If you have any questions about any of that, please reach out to your coach. And then also, people that have been through the challenge, if you're watching it right now, post some of your ideas, like your restaurant meals that you like to eat on the go. And so we can get a few, like maybe a thread underneath this video of some ideas of our favorite go-tos and choices. That would be awesome. All right, guys, so we will see you next week for week 5. And week 5 is carb week.
Oh, yeah, I like this week too.
Yes, it's a really good week of debunking all the myths and things that people think about the big, scary carbohydrates. And we're just going to make you fall in love with them all over again.
Yep.
All right, so we will see y'all next week. Bye-bye.